Let's change gears just a bit. I wanted to talk about instrumentation in the arranging and producing side of things. Now, you are a pianist, obviously a composer and stuff, but when you're arranging and engineering projects, you have to have, I would imagine, at least a rudimentary knowledge of how other instruments work. How does that, from your perspective as an engineer and as a piano player, how do you know how to add what pieces to where in a
Okay,
production?
well, first off, I want to correct you.
Okay.
I am not an engineer or recording engineer.
Okay.
I like to refer to myself as a pretengineer. Um, the, uh, but- and my friends laugh at me because if one button is out of place, I'm done. I have to call my dad. No, I don't mix. I'm a keyboard player composer who has studied my entire life since I'm a kid on my own the instruments of the orchestra because I was fascinated
Mhm.
by orchestrations. When I used to listen to records as a kid, I would tune out the song and the singer and just listen to what the violins were doing or what the woodwinds were doing or what the brass was doing. So the love of putting those musical puzzles together with the instruments of the orchestra, um, it came as natural to me as breathing.
Hmm.
Um, uh, Obviously, the instrument that I play on is a piano or keyboards, and so, but I'm always hearing what everybody else is going to be doing.
So, I mean, hearing it doesn't. I mean, being able to hear it doesn't change because you can play or not play the instrument. It's just about studying, so to
Not at
speak,
all. Right,
repetition.
not at all. I just instinctively know what I want the strings to do, what I want the oboe to do, what I want the guitars to do. What I just know that when I'm writing the song, I'm hearing the complete thing in my head.
That's really cool. As far as genres go with instruments as well, because you've written and composed for certainly many different genres, is that kind of the same thing? Like just having a, studying it in memory and just figuring out which genres really heavily involve which instruments. Like with country music, it's fiddle and pedal steel, bluegrass,
I,
mandolin, things like that.
I think that the finished song, kind of dictates that to me. Um, Obviously, I'm not going to put a whole lot of brass on a country
Right.
song or an oboe or a French horn. And I'm not going to put a pedal steel on a comedic film I'm scoring. So I think every song or every project dictates to what the band is going to be.
But it's funny because I interviewed Randy Edelman after you, and he always talked about like when he's writing the score for a film, he doesn't write comedy. He just writes a theme, and because he feels like if they asked him to write comedy, then the actors in the movie are not doing their job.
Right. No, yeah, and Randy's great at that. Randy and I are old friends, and I pretty much do the same thing when I'm working on a film or a television thing. I create a theme that I think is the arc of the piece, and then it's theme and variations. Because if it's a good theme, you can do it in a minor mode for sadness. You can do it in a happily uplifting mode for light romantic comedy, and then maybe even create a song out of it for
Mhm.
an end title. So,
So essentially, music is an accessory to film at most times. But are there times when music is not the accessory, but is really the main theme of a film?
well, I don't know about well, certainly if you don't want to watch Jaws without John Williams'
Of course
score.
not. Yeah, right.
The music is a great enhancement of what the story is. I mean, you can't replace what the story is.
Right.
Um,
That's a much better word than accessory than enhancer, right? Yeah, I can see that. So let's switch gears again. We didn't talk about musical theater at all in the first episode, and this is really your first love. And you have, correct me if I'm wrong, you have written some, I guess they call it plays or screenplays. I'm talking about Josephine and Pure Country. Can you update us on what these were or are?
Yeah, well, actually, I have a new show that's kind of leapfrogged over. Josephine was a great show, great musical that I wrote with John Bettis, but unfortunately, we just couldn't get the right stars to line up. And with musical theater, everything's got to line up from the right producer to the right theater to timing is, you know, uh, it's just the hardest thing in show business to make it to the stage. I am working on a piece right now that we're in development on, and that we're actually going to open next year. It's called "Say Goodnight." It's the love story of George Burns and Gracie Allen,
Oh wow.
and it's a wonderful, wonderful piece written by Rick Hawkins, who wrote the book and the story, and John Bettis and I have written the score, and it's 22 songs in it, and hopefully we'll be on stage towards the end of 25.
Amazing.
And uh, Pure Country, another kind of situation that just didn't work out business wise. So we're evaluating. We own the music, and so we're evaluating what to do with those songs, and maybe create a new piece utilizing some of those songs.
Yeah, I think Pure Country would be really, really cool on stage. Like Grease is in kind of that fashion, you know. Like I think Grease is amazing on screen, but it's also amazing live on stage. I'd love to see that from a Pure Country standpoint. Um, in the writing of the music or the presentation of the music between theater and film, what are the major challenges that you face with theater versus film?
Theater's kind of its own animal, its own vernacular. I approach the demos to the songs, the theater songs, using actor voices and actor singers, as opposed to when I'm demoing a song for an artist to record, just a pop song. Who then I'll either do it myself or have uh, a great studio singer, pop singer, or country singer come in and sing the demo. With songs for theater, um, I'd like to cast it for however many voices are going to sing the songs, and use those same artists or singers on the different songs. So when you listen to the score in its entirety, um, you get a sense of what the story is, and who the characters are.
Is it more? Do you feel like the music is more of an enhancer, obviously, in a musical versus a film? I would think it would be, right?
Oh, yeah, yeah. In a musical, it's all about the musical.
Yeah, yeah.
Otherwise, they'd call it a talkical. You know.
Exactly.